Now, WJC's Purple Playbook brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome into Purple Playbook. I'm Alex Glaze, joined as always by two-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith. It's the offseason. It's kind of that dead period. We're waiting for the draft, but offseason workouts begin next week. This has got to be, I don't want to say it's an exciting time, but as a player, do you kind of look forward to kind of getting back in the building, getting back in the groove of things a little bit?
Of course you look forward to off-season workouts and running around on air and seeing your teammates and getting worn out. It's the greatest thing ever, But a lot of guys, some guys do look forward to that. I think it's important for people to understand everyone's off-season is not the same. And what I mean by that is when I was in Baltimore, for as much as we hear about certain guys in certain positions being there, I didn't see Anquan Bolden. I didn't see Ed Reed. I didn't see Ray Lewis. I didn't see Haloti Ngata. I didn't see Terrell Suggs until mandatory minicamp. So I think as long as people get their expectations based off of that, they'll understand that you don't see them because they know what it takes, right? They already had their offseason plan. But for the younger guys and people that are trying to prove themselves, they were there. And you got a lot of really good work in with the team. It's an opportunity to start to kind of establish the culture, especially when you have a new coach, which I had the opportunity to experience 2 years in a row in San Francisco, where we had two different coaches, to see that you have extra dates. And now you get to get going earlier and really dial in and have an opportunity to compete for a spot.
Yeah, well, April 6th is the date that Jesse Minter has been looking forward to as he gets ready to start his offseason program. And he has a confidence level that he says is high. He thinks attendance is going to be pretty strong on Monday. But when asked whether or not he has a sense of if his quarterback is going to be there on day one, the confidence level was a little bit lower.
I think Lamar is really excited about what we have going on. I think he's excited about opportunities in the offseason program. And again, we'll see on April 6th, we'll see who all walks in the door.
All right, well, we're going to see who walks through the door. It's important to note this is phase one of the offseason. It is a voluntary portion of the offseason, but it's also a portion of the offseason where Jesse Minter says that he's going to lay the foundation. His staff is going to lay the foundation of what they're about and how they're going to go about their business. From your experience as a player, and you've experienced going through a new coach as well, what happens during this phase one?
Well, when you talk about establishing the culture, it's essentially just you have the opportunity to be with your coaches in meetings. So now you understand how they communicate. They start to communicate their standards and what are the non-negotiables, right, in terms of what it's going to take for this team to be great. You start to really kind of build your relationships there. You spend a lot more time with your strength and conditioning coaches. However, when you have the opportunity to get with your coaches, it's a big deal in terms of how you're growing forward. So typically, offensively, you get the opportunity to go and learn the playbook a little bit earlier. You get to watch film. You get to see things. In those couple of weeks, it is a big deal when it comes to learning and getting ahead. Again, however, I've been on teams where even though we had those extra weeks, certain vets were not there. And I'm going to continue to say this because I can tell you
You're not expecting Lamar to show up.
We are going to be here in a week. I'm trying to get ahead of it. My guy already knows here. Lamar ain't coming, all right? If he comes, it'll be the biggest surprise to me, right? And it's simply because it's that portion of the offseason. Everything that they're teaching, hypothetically speaking, Lamar can learn from his iPad back home. Is it the same as hearing it from your coach? No. Is it the same as starting to build your relationship with your coach? Absolutely not. But I just think it's really hard to tell someone who's been the best player in the league at least 3 seasons, right, that he has to change anything that he's been doing. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, the only reason why the Ravens have won the Super Bowl is because Lamar wasn't there for the voluntary workouts at the beginning part of the offseason. That's not a true statement to me. Would it help for him to be there? Yes. Would they know earlier what works well and what doesn't? Absolutely. Do you understand what your favorite plays are and how you operate within that system? Sure. But will that make or break you? Because we had a great attendance at a certain point when I was in San Francisco, when it really came down to it, when you actually had the opportunity to compete in OTAs and stuff. Awesome attendance. We won 4 games. So at the end of the day, you still just got to play, right? And I think for this team, culture-wise, you would like to see Lamar in the building, but I'm just not anticipating it. Again, if he's here, I would love to say I'm dead wrong, but I just don't see any reason as to why he would consistently be there. Spotty? Sure. Consistently? Absolutely not.
There's a famous saying, doing the same things and expecting different results is insanity. Mm-hmm. Lamar last spring didn't attend 8 of 9 on-field workouts. We're not even talking about the lifting stuff. We're talking about on-field workouts. Missed 8 of 9 of those workouts. He's won 2 MVPs doing it his way. Has not won a Super Bowl, has not even made a Super Bowl appearance. I believe Lamar when he says he wants to win a Super Bowl and he wants to bring a Super Bowl to Baltimore. But this is a new regime, as close as he's going to get to a fresh start. I think something has to change, and this is an opportunity for him to change that narrative and show up for his team, for Jesse, for this new staff, and prove that he's committed and he wants to actually do that. I mean, Declan Doyle's made it very clear. He's expecting guys to show up to the voluntary portion of the offseason.
It's voluntary mandatory for sure. It's like your company.
He can't say that, but it's voluntary. But he's expecting him to be there. So when you're talking about wanting to win that championship standard, Lamar being there, I think, is very important. I'm not going to be surprised if he doesn't show up. But if Lamar wants to win a Super Bowl, I believe that showing up for his team, for this new staff, and trying something different, a new approach, I think it's necessary.
I think it would help, but I think necessary is, again, there are teams out here that show up all the time and still don't win the Super Bowl, that still don't make the playoffs, that still don't get over the hump. So I think it's one of those things where, like, what works for one person may not work for the other. And again, I think Lamar's game and his play has been at such a high level that it's hard for me to sit here and say, oh, man, if he comes, this is going to be a difference maker. And I'm saying that because I'm watching teams that are there all the time. We aren't talking about other quarterbacks that when they decide to miss. Now, Lamar may miss. There's only a few guys that operate like that.
But how can he say that he cares about winning if he's not willing to show up for his team, for his new coaching staff, when they view it as necessary, right? Yeah. I mean, they made it clear that they view it as necessary.
So are we going to say Ray Lewis didn't care about winning because he was never there? Are we going to say Terrell Suggs didn't care about winning because he was never there? We're not, because they got it done on the field.
He's not a quarterback. I think
quarterback
is different.
It is a difference with
new offense, new system, new regime.
However, it's still football. Football is not rocket science, right? But I do think culturally it does matter. It's a big deal when your quarterback is in the building because everyone tends to
we heard last year when he did show up for that one day, just how everyone's energy was elevated by him just being in the building. Yeah, so we know that it impacts things.
Everyone operates at a higher level. Again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm anti not being there because you're talking to a guy who was at all the workouts. I was there. By the way, if I had a workout bonus like Lamar, I would still be there. Let's talk about that, all right? But Lamar makes enough money that he can say, you know what, $1 million.
Doesn't need that $750,000.
Let me go chill. He's going to pay for that sunshine tax. He's going to kick it down there in Florida, all right? But the reality of it is just because you're not in the building doesn't mean you're working. I want to be honest here. I want to tell you something that a lot of people will not say out loud. When it comes down to it, a lot of guys don't come into the building because being in that facility and the way they train you makes your body feel worse. And a lot of people won't say that out loud. They kind of run you in the dirt a little bit. When you're a receiver, when I trained away from the facility, I felt way better than when I trained at the facility at any given point. Everything you do is monitored. They don't care about it. They're going to put volumes on you. Guess what? When you're at a practice and now we have 2-3 receivers that have hamstring issues, they don't adjust the reps. You have to pick up more. So what does that tend to lead to? Other soft tissue injuries. Well, guess what? If I was just training on my own down there at Bomberitos in Florida, I'm going to be on my same pattern building on up. So that's the truth that people won't tell you as to why a lot of guys don't come to all-season workouts. However, when it comes to Lamar, I do think it matters as a quarterback to be in the building if you can, but also there are a lot of guys that simply just feel better being away from the facility.
Understood. From a culture standpoint, though, got to be there day one. That's where I'm.
Yeah, I think you can be
day
there.
one.
I think you can be there maybe the first couple of days and then bounce.
All right.
And then come back the next phase and then bounce.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the Ravens are heading to Brazil. We're going to get Tori's thoughts on international games when Purple Playbook continues.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The Winning Prognosis, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. Care bravely.
How does it feel to understand that you motivate a lot of young guys down in Brazil, such a far place,
Brazil?
with your passion and your skills?
Man, that's dope. That's dope. Oh man, it's a blessing, man, for people in Brazil to know who I am. That's just dope.
Oh, baby.
That's crazy. I gotta go to Brazil one time. I gotta travel to Brazil once. Yeah. That's crazy.
Lamar says he's got to go to Brazil once. I don't know if he's been yet, but he's definitely going back in Week 3. According to the Baltimore Banner, the Ravens are playing the Cowboys in Week 3 in Rio. Your reaction, Tori, when you saw that news that the Ravens going international for the first time since 2023?
I think it's really cool. It goes to show just how the game has grown itself. It's been amazing to see. I think flag football has been a major part of that as well. And it goes to show there's an appetite for it. The NFL doesn't just go places for its own health. They go there to establish the culture, and you see that. And I've had the opportunity to travel, not to Brazil, but I've been in Mexico a lot, and to see the football culture there, the number of leagues that exist, and again, to see how the game is expanding with flag football, it's really cool to see. So to have the team go down there, I know Philadelphia went down there last year. They said the crowd was amazing. It was a good time. There's no reason as to see why this Ravens team will not have a great opportunity. And by the way, you don't think the team owners want to take a little bit of that global population? Lamar Jackson is one of the best players in the league. It's a great opportunity for the Ravens to capitalize on people knowing who 8 is and who the Baltimore Ravens are.
And for the Ravens, they're also not losing a home game. This is a Cowboys home game, so that's obviously big for them as well. But this is just one of 9 international games. It's an NFL record that will be played in 2026. You're talking about the expansion. From a player perspective, though, just how do you view international games when it comes to, it changes your routine, the travel that's involved, coordinating, getting your family on board, just all the things that go into that. Just how do players feel about these international games?
Yeah, I mean, changing your routine is for sure tough, but I know personally, I actually never played overseas. I always left the team the year they had to go do it, which is kind of crazy. But when you think about it, it does adjust your routine. But the NFL has grown over the years in understanding what it takes for teams to be successful in these other areas because they've had the opportunities now, the time. They know physically, sports science-wise, what's best. You have some teams that don't. A lot of teams go out early, but there's some teams now that'll wait and go and just try to get in and out, right? There's different ways. People are playing with sports science and what they're studying with recovery and jet lag and the whole 9. But overall, I think it's something that you'll adjust to, and it is something, you had the whole week off the next week typically.
Yeah, we're talking about play reaction. We did get some reaction from a former Raven, Terrell Suggs, who says he's coming out of retirement for the Brazil game. So clearly he's excited about what's coming here as well. And we're talking about just growing the game and what this means globally for the Ravens. We know that, we just heard from a reporter in 2024 talking to Lamar about just the impact that he's already had before he even stepped foot in Rio in that grounds. Just kind of how crazy is that to think just how global this game has become in what feels like just a short amount of time?
Man, it's unbelievable to think about. And for myself, having the opportunity to experience the soccer culture for the first time, football, to people who don't view our football as the same. I had the opportunity to see Messi play in San Francisco. And to see a guy that came from me playing the FIFA video games in college to seeing him on the field and to see how an entire stadium responded to him. He was literally just at M&T Bank Stadium just a few weeks ago, right? Global, right? That's soccer. You see his face, he's out there. But this game of football, to see the same thing happening and knowing that one of the faces of this sport and that people know is Lamar Jackson. And the thing that makes me excited about seeing Lamar Jackson in Brazil is Brazil has a major culture of people that look at Lamar as someone that's relatable to them. So that's the other part I think is really cool about it, specifically for the Baltimore Ravens, is that their leader in Lamar Jackson is more relatable. So I'm excited about that for him and that he gets to experience that. Listen, when you tell people you're from Baltimore, you live in that area at this point, or you're tied to the Ravens, they don't even ask you about the legends like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, those folks. No, they ask you, do you know Lamar Jackson? Right? Lamar Jackson is the biggest sports figure that has ever come out of Baltimore. And I'm saying that with my chest. I know we've debated about this for years. There's no one that's bigger than Lamar Jackson, primarily because of era and the ability of social media and these things to expand it. But Lamar Jackson is a real star, and we're lucky to have him in Baltimore.
You're talking to someone who put Lamar on the Baltimore Sports Mount Rushmore this past summer, and you pushed back on, but we're going to move on from that. But we're talking about games that are being played in now Brazil, Mexico, London, Melbourne also on that. So, that's when we're talking about just how that impacts players, that is a crazy trip. Mm-hmm. How do you see players, I believe that's Rams-Niners that are going to Australia to play in that game? That's a whole different trip. How do you see them navigating that?
Here's one of the things that I'll tell you the most that we have to discuss in an honest way. the players are going to complain physically about how it feels in those transitions, the time away, the adjustment. Like I know for myself, I'm a creature of routine, right? Especially when I was playing. But the reality of it is, we were just talking a few weeks ago about how crazy contracts were and how crazy the salary cap was, and that's because of viewership. You can't have it both ways. You ask me, based on what these checks look like now, would I do it? I'll try to get this knee greased up right now to try to go back to do what they're getting paid right now, right? It's really cool to see how the game has grown, but you can't have it both ways. You're going to get paid to do it at the level that they're doing it. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, and hopefully you roll the dice that your team isn't one of those 9 games on the season.
You get a couple shots in that knee, I think you might have a couple reps in you. You got at least 5 reps in you, right?
I'm done, man. It'd have to be one play game on the line and everything you got in the medical cabinet.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Todd Monken missed the annual head coaching picture over in Arizona. Is it something or nothing? We're going to get Tori's thoughts when Purple Playbook continues.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The Bottom Line, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. It's time for something or nothing. I'm going to throw out a topic, and Tori, you tell me if it's something or nothing. Just wrapped up the annual owners' meetings over in Arizona. One of the big talking points out of this, on the fun side, Todd Monken missing the annual head coaching picture. He missed it because he's getting a haircut. Is that something or nothing? Them not waiting for Todd to come in, and the first time, he's a first-year head coach. He's got to be in the picture, right?
I mean, you're a head coach. You're out here finding people for not being on time, and you're not on time for the picture, for the haircut. Like, and then I saw the work of the haircut. Come on, dog. Just get there on time, get your picture. Now, like, they didn't Photoshop him or anything. Like, this is crazy.
But you also can't wait for him?
That's what I'm saying. But also, like, dude, you know what time the picture was going to. Unless they just casually did it, which would be messed up. Like, you know, my man was over there trying to get his little fade right. Like, you know.
We also got to talk about your former head coach with the loafers and the ankle socks. That was a tough look, sitting in the front row.
Man, he up in New York now, so
you can't be doing that in New York.
Hey, he's feeling good about himself. He at the Hamptons now. There's Hamptons Harbs. It's not the way.
You got to go no socks with the loafers.
Always no socks with the loafers, but you know. This is Harbs at the Hamptons, not the same Harbs we know. It's not Baltimore Harbs, all right? It's a difference.
All right. Another big talking point from these owners' meetings. We're talking about New York. Odell Beckham Jr. reportedly meeting with John Harbaugh and the Giants about making a comeback and coming and joining the Giants. Obviously, Odell has some familiarity with John with his time here in Baltimore. Is that something or nothing, Odell meeting with the Giants?
I think it's a whole bunch of nothing. I think Odell can still definitely move. I've had the opportunity to see him a couple times over the last
Just made a great catch in that flag.
Yeah, I've seen him over a few times over the last few months. He's very much still Odell and will be a great veteran addition. However, I don't think it's going to happen, and it's not because of him. Odell's one of those guys where it's like because he is who he is and what he's been able to accomplish and his popularity, sometimes people don't even want that around, even though he's going to work his tail off. He's going to practice extremely hard. He's going to do everything right. He's not going to be worried about the money. It would be a great addition to any room, and the players would definitely work around that, especially the younger guys. But the reality of it is I think that ship has sailed.
Okay, and let's talk about the other New York team. Aaron Glenn added a quarterback. Geno Smith going to the Jets. A big upgrade for them at quarterback. But Aaron Glenn says that Geno is going to take the Jets to the promised land. Do you think that upgrade at quarterback is something or nothing for the Jets?
He's just saying anything. The Jets ain't going to no promised land. Just got to be honest about it. They're not there as a whole. Now, I love Geno. That is my guy, right? That's my dog right there. However, Geno isn't the reason why this team was sorry. Quarterback play definitely impacted them a lot, but they're just a sorry program right now, and so it's going to take some time to get it together.
Maybe the promised land is the number 1 pick? Maybe.
Hey, listen, they've been living in the top 10, and so that goes to show to me. That's why the draft isn't the end-all, be-all. Like, if you don't hit well in free agency, if you don't do a lot of things right, you can stay. They've been drafting in the top 10, 15 for as long as we can remember.
Feels like this is everyone leading up to the Arch Manning draft, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to wrap up the show. When we come back, you are watching Purple Playbook.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. Now, WJZ's Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook as we wrap up the show. We got to talk a little college football. Maryland opening up their spring practices. As they, enter this new year, Malik Washington entering year 2. What are you expecting to see from Malik and the Terps?
I'm expecting a step forward. Coach Loxley's done a great job having the ability to retain some guys now that you put money into it. He kept some of his top defensive linemen there. Obviously, you're going to lose people in the portal. However, I think he did a great job bringing in some weapons. Malik is the face of the program. No better person than Malik to be that. I'm excited about it. I actually had the opportunity to check them out, and I'm excited about it there. But I think it's going to be a big year for the Terps to get over that hump and to be super competitive in the Big Ten.
And we got about a minute left, but I do have to ask you about Chris Durr, one of their big guys that they're bringing in from Wyoming, a receiver. What are you seeing from him? And, I think everyone's missing just like a weapon, a reliable weapon for Malik. Man. So what are you expecting to see from Durr?
He's a guy that could be like your safety net, an explosive safety net. You can give him the ball quickly. He's more of a slot-type receiver, but he's fast, he's explosive, and he's that kind of gadget guy that was missing. Maryland's typically going to have some really good outside receivers, but you need that guy that can man the middle of the field. And Chris is a guy that they brought in from Wyoming, under-recruited, and now it's a great opportunity for him to shine in the Big Ten. Yeah,
and Malik entering his sophomore season, but was throwing at pro day. Just how cool is that for him to get that exposure, in front of the pro scouts to, help out some of his former teammates, but also, participate in pro day as well.
Oh, man, you had the opportunity to do it now. Now you're not nervous about it. You've done it before. Now they get to watch you grow over the next couple of years because he's not going to do all 4 years at Maryland. He's going to be a top pick. Watch it.
Okay. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's Purple Playbook. As we get closer to the NFL draft, we have a lot of draft topics to discuss. But that's going to do it for us this week. For two-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith, I'm Alex Glaze. We will be back next week.